more into it. I mean, first of all, it's still electricity, and this electricity is still coming from fuel, so it's pretty fake. The question is also from what you generate electricity. So, I don't. The fact that there is a company that sells product is still a company that sells product. The problem, or the transformation actually, which is not a problem. We're just in a transition mode here to have a consumable energy that is not generating toxic. Okay, now there's, for example, gas and there's biogas. Biogas is generated from cow's poo and plants and things like that, while the day-to-day gas that we consume is coming from drilling underwater, which can also trigger earthquakes, right? So and that's where the world is transforming. What is from where we generate the heat? Now, on our planet's surface, when we use solar plates, it's around what 80% efficiency, something like that. On the upper spheres, it can get really high. It's pretty amazing. So what we cannot stretch cables from the upper sphere to. There's must be other solutions. So the Chinese came up with this fusion reactor that probably stole from another company. This is 150 million Celsius thing. If that Chinese product is gonna explode, there's gonna be a crack there, like most of the products. China's gonna wipe, and probably that whole region. You don't play with that stuff. And my concern is that we're seeing like a gold rush without gold. I mean, there's enough energy on the planet. It's just the way that we consume it. Now, assume that around 2-3% of the electricity on the planet is. I think that even more. I think it's actually a lie. It's only around 10% is diverted to crypto coin mining. Okay, this is like completely gone out of control. Governments are subsidizing the mining of cryptocurrencies. Okay, all our tax money. I mean, I'm not better. You're not better than We're all on the same ship here. That our tax money is actually going to subsidize electricity that is being used by all kind of third parties to mine coins. I think it's pretty awful. No one, I understand everyone will to invest and make money or mine and make money, but this is like completely out of control from that level. And definitely, if we want to have an alternative energy source, we also need to inspect how we impact the planet. Now, just a
But I
really
guess
small
that's why
note.
I always say, and Rex, remember about our 2 minute limit. But I just want to know how that really was going to tie into the new Green Deal that we were talking about in the lockdowns.
I
AOC was, and Tom, hang on, in how does it actually tie to the Green New Deal and the refinery explosions that we're seeing now? I mean, how are you tying that into our new energy? I mean, Keystone's been shut down here, and you know, uh,
Yeah, there's something amazing, Whitney, about the fact that people are talking about exploding dams that actually generate electricity. I mean, if you notice that, there's dams are actually damaging the planets. Dams are cutting the water flow. So when you talk about green and you say, all right, dams actually generate green energy, right? It just water flows there. Makes sense, right? It's a green energy. The whole green thing is probably the planet is green, all right? Everything is organic. There's the whole lingual metrics that they're building here to say, all right, we'll move green or we'll move into a green energy. There's no green energy is like the completely wrong term to use in that cases.
it's
The
disrupting the line.
Yeah, it's disrupting and disrupt lives because dams, for
The
example,
the
damage
line
the
the
uh,
line it
or
should go with.
okay. Dams damaging the natural water flow on the planet, and they generate damage for generation ahead, and they ruin the land, literally. Wherever there's water, people shouldn't be living it. I mean, if there's a problem, people should move away. I mean, that's where nature and the forces of nature telling us don't touch. We destroyed slowly the sea with
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's
yeah,
going well far into another discussion that,
yeah,
maybe we're going to have to wrap it up here as the chat does close at midnight tonight. But yeah, I was just wondering how that was going to tie into, the Green New Deal and AOC wanting to shut us down and put us back into a lockdown similar to COVID. And I think that that's just really crazy to go into another lockdown, especially if it's going to have to deal with something similar to these refineries blowing up and things like that happening, or what would actually create us to go into that lockdown again over something besides the COVID thing. But also moving on in some other news, just to kind of wrap up some things. Did you guys see about Como again in New York? The governor is now has come out with like a ninth or a tenth accuser. This one actually had pictures. They did say that they did finally come out with her name. She did a press conference this afternoon. Her name is Sherry Bill, a 55-year-old woman who said that he came at her outside of her home, told her she was beautiful, and was acting highly flirtatious and inappropriate. And this happened back in 2017. And the reason why she said she didn't come forward was because her family was discouraging her because they were afraid he would retaliate against her and the family in some way.
Oh, for
So
God's sake.
I know I found that really so. This guy just needs to resign and get over it. But I can't believe how many people are actually out there going, "Oh, we love you and we want you to stay," and all this stuff I've seen in the news lately. I'm just like, how long can
People
this
are
guy go
afraid
on?
of
And
people of power.
yeah, they're afraid of what he's going to do. Don't y'all think this is ridiculous? Come on, let's
Yeah,
move
it's
on with
true.
it.
Yeah, especially if you don't have money to
Exactly.
defend
Anybody else
yourself.
see
To
that? Or
defend yourself.
yeah, I just they wait so long to bring these subjects up though when something happens. I mean, like this was 3 or 4 years ago, and she waited so long to even bring it up. So I think it just starts to discredit some of the people, unfortunately, when they wait as long as they do to, bring a case against them or say anything. We were also talking about the Ghislaine Maxwell a little bit. Why do you think this is taking so long to come about? Does anybody have anything to say about that? And the Jeffrey Epstein thing, and where this is all gonna, one of these charges gonna start coming about?
I think that necessarily what we are told by the media doesn't mean that it's done or it isn't done or wasn't done 5 years ago. Like it maybe was done 20 years ago, and we're gonna be told 2 years after this. Like, who are we to know it immediately? You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
we
exactly.
can't know.
Well, I
It,
think it'll be like the indictment is a speedy indictment, so it can add or take away certain people, and you'll have to see. I think they're adding people. I really do. Look it up. It's really interesting.
That's why it's taking so long.
yeah, I wonder if they're gonna start naming names though. Who are these people? I'm just like, gosh, let's just get this ball rolling. I think what she's up in July, but I heard that this was going to escalate it significantly in order to get these new charges processed against her. So it'll be interesting. And I was surprised when I also heard, and maybe someone else can kind of maybe fill me in if I'm not sure about it, but I heard something about this Leslie Wexner who like owns Victoria's Secret, that he's involved in this, that Epstein.
Wexner,
I thought that was
Wexner.
completely clear.
Yeah, the name Wexner came up, and I thought it was interesting that Epstein actually like handled his finances or something for years,
Yeah,
with
I
these
think
models.
he was the person basically that gave Jeffrey Epstein his wealth. Basically, like he's the one who started him up in Wall Street.
The
His mansion in New
Wexners
York.
have very bad history in Israel, going back to World War II. I mean, really, they were working for both sides. This is the stories. His granddaughter is elected parliament member here. The thing she talks about parenthood, if you'll hear it, you'll simply puke. I mean, this is
Name?
It's ridiculous. The name is Merav Michaeli. Look out for Michali.
Like
This is
Michaela.
Michaeli.
Understood.
Also linked to J.P. Morgan out of New York City.
Mm. That it's a one big
JP
happy
Morgan.
family of corrupted
JP Morgan is owned
pedophiles.
by the Rockefeller
Bravo,
family by
Aura.
Chase.
What?
Said bravo.
So the Vaxners are, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Whitney, this is like a bunch of,
Yeah,
uh,
that.
yeah. I this is they work with the Nazis. They sold Jews to the Nazis, and they did like they sold.
Because they're not.
And when no,
Okay.
they're completely not
Anton,
Jewish or
can you
any
wait until he's
related
done
to.
making his point, please? Go ahead,
Oh,
Arlo.
There's
I coughed accidentally. I just coughed.
no, sorry. Um, the, this she's the granddaughter of she's the root of them, and what she said is that the future of the families is actually that the governments will grow up the children by default. Okay, that's the idea. There's a model in Israel
What
called the
is going
kibbutz.
on, fellas?
So, and it was a completely social, radical left social, like
It's been a
really,
while.
it's not a left. It's actually social, but
It's been a
it's
while.
really radical. And your salary is going to the kibbutz if you work and things like that. It's very social thing. You own nothing. You have nothing. And it was here, right inside the country, and they want to implement it as not only countrywide, they want to, and they push it and they have support
It's
for it.
been a
Okay,
while,
and I don't
fellas.
think that anyone really goes to the root of their idea of how this, who's gonna gain what. I mean, you actually have nothing, okay, and not even your children, so you don't even own what you generate. I mean, from any
Oh, this is
perspective,
gonna be a short
and
stream.
you should like thank them,
Very
okay,
short
for
stream.
everything that you have. You don't have the ability or uh, um, let's say approval for decision making, which is fundamental. You don't have any rights. You don't have ownership about anything, which is including the next generation continuum. Only one of the least
How does this?
responsibility we have
How
in
does?
this world is education.
Yeah, excuse me.
Get
How does
educated.
this relate? How are you relating this to the Westerners? Because
He's gonna
I was
come and
talking
test
about
that out
Epstein
again.
had
I know
power
for
of attorney
sure.
over Westerners' money, and when Western found out about it in 2007, he
It has.
Yeah, but Epstein is like, it's not dead. And the White has just released his true location. Did a very nice trick there that is actually hidden somewhere in Kuwait. So, and how the connection to the ties to the financial, I believe that they fund the most craziest people on this planet to create chaos. They're chaos generators. Okay, that's their work. They keep us busy,
For a
and they
long
will
time.
find. Yeah, that they will find the most crazy, adventurous MF out there, and they will fund them, fund their trips up to the level they will buy island with, you know, structures on them. They will actually believe that it's fine to do that. The power that they injected into them, that's their method. Okay, they act like it sounds crazy. They talk with with the eyes wide open, and things like that's. It looks inhumane from
So my
from here.
question is
If
why is she still alive?
how do you know if
Mm,
she's
that's a good question. Not only it's a good question, but
How? How is she still alive?
well,
exactly.
look,
how do you know?
Oh, you know
it's
what?
not a,
Who would really know as to
why
why
Bill
she's
Gates
still
still
alive?
alive.
Only
How
God
would you
would
know?
know. Like, going back to like I guess destiny or whatever. But like going back to Wednesday's question as to why the court's taking a long time to basically getting going. I think it has to do with the fact the elites are trying to do whatever the excuse they could find to delay any verdict or prosecution of the case even starting. the court case even starting, the trials,
Interesting
so they could cover up their
what
evidence.
these
As
people
you know,
talk about.
the more time they have from steering away the eyeballs and the reporters from the evidence and the witnesses and all that, the easier it is, the more time they have to cover everything, to eliminate people, whoever they have to eliminate,
Yeah,
and
I was
things like
thinking.
that. You know, the,
Agree.
so they're gonna extend it to as long as possible as they can, because this is pretty big. Even the Harvey Weinstein case, from the whole thing that blew in Hollywood, that was pretty big, but it's not as big as Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. It's like a notch one or two up, as to how far it goes, because we're talking
I
about here
Yep.
presidents.
I can
Yep.
We're
answer
talking
that
about
really shortly.
we're
Definitely.
And
talking about
Weinstein
presidents.
didn't
We're
take
talking
as
about
long.
the British royal family, the Saudi Muslim royal family as well. We're talking about the Hollywoods, the
I
businessmen,
call that
all these
trade
people going to his island. So, and
to my
we already
king.
know that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell are involved in human and child trafficking of young girls, particularly. So it's much bigger, but I do believe that the Harvey Weinstein case can go further if somehow they could get him to actually talk about what's really going on there, because he's also connected with the Clintons and the Obamas and all that. But this one's just a little bit bigger, especially that the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell, she's a daughter of Robert Maxwell, who's like the one of the founders of Mossad of Israel, and he's a billionaire. So it's pretty big,
Yeah,
and then
no,
we
no, no,
have
no. They haven't. They're not. The Mossad. The Mossad first. There's a lot of rumors about the Mossad. The Mossad has got into a conjunction, and then they cannot go back in time, so to say. The Mossad is an independent organization that no one, even in Israel, can access to. You need to understand that this is not MI6 and all that.
Oh god.
It's a
Like a
completely
country.
yeah, it's a completely different model. You guys don't understand. It's a monster in a level that are you say it's unacceptable. No one really gives a shit. But the idea behind it that it's not only protect Israel, okay, it's protect many nations around it, and with the size and with the power that it has, okay, it makes a lot of sense that no one will can ever fund it by any meaning. They they can uh, uh, they create Maxwell's to work for them. Okay, this works completely differently if you think that a person or a family can control this organization that you know nothing about intelligence. All right, this is completely fine that you don't know nothing, and also I cannot prove myself as a
Yeah, I think
I
you were
know
just trying to.
I know a few people that work there. Okay, so it doesn't make any sense. I mean,
Yeah, it's just how
it's
fast can we get it going in this case in order to get her, talking and get these cases open and get it closed. Weinstein didn't take that long to do, and this Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell is just taking a really long time to get her talking or get it out in the open. And I understand there's leads probably behind this that are, managing it and not wanting her to talk or whatever. But it's like Tried has said, how long is it going to take, for the leads either to dispel of her and get rid of her, or are we going to bring it to court and let's get it all exposed? Because I think it really needs to be. So I guess that's where I was going with that whole subject on Maxwell grooming these girls like she did, and paying them to engage in sex, is just disgusting. So let's get this case going.
yeah, this sounds like
Let's check
she's
if they
pretty stupid. But
agree on this
I
stuff.
really like the what Whiteheads
That though.
did
What
to
Bitcoin has
Epstein.
been doing.
They exposed his real identity, exposing
57.
that some rich
Total.
Arab guy bought his island for what it was 50, 56, I think, $1 million, something like that. It's also a ridiculous amount of
Right.
I thought it was gonna change
money,
60.
and I think that this is probably one
60
of
to
the biggest
70.
shots ever done in a recent year,
Lovely.
exposing a so-called death pedophile, which it's one of the last nails in this coffin. I mean, this is big. I mean, this
Yeah,
shows
we need
how
to get
how
it. We
big.
need to get it going.
Yeah.
Sister Berber, do you want to say something about it?
Whew.
Yeah, I wanted to say something because with what Crown Eyes was saying before, like this is a really big deal. And one thing, that kind of goes back into what he was saying is that I think it was like maybe a few weeks ago, there was other news about Ghislaine Maxwell case and the judge there deeming some of the stuff that was in the depositions and everything that was sensational and pure. So, and between the the judge saying that and also the government asking for more redactions into the public record, I think that says a lot because once they do those redactions, everything that is public record that was before you won't be able to see again. And not a lot of people actually read all the deposition. I mean, it was a lot of pages, and I read
Interesting.
half of it, and there's a lot of damning things in there. So back a few weeks ago, them asking for redactions, and then everything that happened today, it's kind of like, okay, now what are they trying to hide from the public view?
Where is she from? Yeah.
Oh
Remember us
God, I'm
talking
so
about last
tired.
time, I think about impure things. I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, think about all the stuff that's been just out there in movies and in other things that we watch that are impure. I'm thinking to myself, how impure could it be? Let's get on with it. We need, no matter how fragile it might be, it's time.
When you think about it, movies were founded on real stories. Maybe
Que levante la mano.
I kind of
some,
wanted to
of course.
end the chat up. I'm going to wrap it up here in the next minute or two. But I wanted to bring up something that came out just today that I know we got a lot of comments on in the Disco C chat was about Donald Trump's statement. Did you all happen to see that today? Where he said, based on, he was talking about the interviews, I felt it was time to speak up about Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, two
That's
self
a nice
promoters
W right
trying to
there.
reinvent history to cover for their bad instincts
Mm-hmm.
and faulty recommendations, which I fortunately
I think
almost always overturn. Just a moment, I wasn't done reading it. They had bad policy decisions that would have left our country open to China and others, close to reopening our economy, and years away from an approved vaccine, putting millions of lives at risk. What do you guys think about the whole Dr. Fauci thing?
Sophie read that.
Oh, she did read that earlier today. Okay. I
Yes,
wasn't
yes,
sure
yes.
if she
Like
went through
2
that.
hours ago.
Okay, yeah, I got off of it. Does anybody else want to say anything about that though that might have joined later?
I just love hearing Trump doing any kind of a topic or speaking out or anything like that. You just love. I miss the guy.
Yeah, I wonder. I
Um,
wonder how he really feels about Dr. Fauci. I'd love to just have a discussion. Dr. Fauci has kind of been one of those people that have gone back and forth.
Bye
And
bye.
it's eventually you don't believe him anymore. It's like, okay, is what you're telling us true or false? Should we do it? Should we not do it? And it's just been one of those things. So I was wondering what you guys thought about that.
what I
Oh,
heard is that Fauci.
I will peacefully punch him in the face. Peacefully.
Well, we haven't we haven't. No one took Fauci and faced him, real professor, for any health topic or any real acting doctor that faces those challenges day to day. We only seen him facing parliament, president, things like that. I mean, look where he came, look where he's going. This is all pretty transparent. He's working for someone, he's working for something, he's maintaining the situation. He pops up right after the pandemic starts as a savior. Look, all those savior, look, all those businessmen, look, all those new entities that jump in right into the pool of pandemic. They've been waiting, they've been training all their life to jump into that and they build themselves into that in the structure, it's in the DNA. All right? Let God do his
Go
work.
there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So anybody else have anything to say about the Fauci thing? I know we see him on the news like daily, if not two or three times.
He's deep state. He was put in the government a long time ago. He's been there for a long time. Trump has basically spoken. He's spoken negatively about him before on Twitter. Like I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember something. It was a negative. But Donald Trump Jr. Spoke about against the COVID vaccines that Joe Biden, the Democrats, are pondering on implementing today, like twice. Saying that Republicans need to stand up against it and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Fauci, like IG5 and Cyclone B. Moderna, RNA, mRNA vaccines. Fauci, does it ring any bells?
Yes, exactly. All right, guys. Well, it's midnight. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the chat up for the
Oh,
night. I really
yeah.
appreciate y'all
I
being
got a
here,
little bit tired. Was
and
just checking the
going
market.
through
I
new
got
news
into that
that
trade.
was out there that I didn't even hear about, and I appreciate
I'm gonna
everybody's
let that trade
input.
run.
And I just want to give everybody a
Yeah.
reminder. As always, we're here from
Gonna let
Monday through
that trade
Friday,
run. Oh,
from
right there,
7
right now I'm
p.m.
breaking
Eastern
even.
Time till 12.
But I'm
Well,
gonna let that trade
sometimes we
run.
go a little bit longer. Normally, I do on the
Tomorrow we
nights I'm
log
here.
in.
I'm back again on
Again, let's check
Thursday.
it out.
Thursday night, I will be closing up the chat again. Don't forget about our Saturday sessions. We have
I
those
might leave it
over
for the
in
week,
our main chat, the TV Disclosed chat. I'm
depending on
sorry,
what I see.
Disclosed TV. And be sure you take a look at those. We always have a
Because
speaker,
this could come
and
back
they
up,
speak for about 20 to
touch
30
that
minutes
line,
with some
touch that
questions
line again.
afterwards. Always good subjects, and kind of specialized people that know
See how
quite a
there's
bit
support
about
here?
the subject we're speaking about.
I should put a
So
little bit
definitely take a look
this a
at those.
little
We'll
bit
be posting
low.
that out there when we know who our speakers will be for the week.
Secure that.
And like I
It is
said,
what it
I
is.
really appreciate y'all being
Well,
here.
the beast is
Love you
out,
all.
fellas.
Take
The beast is
care.
gonna
Have a
be
great
back
week.
soon. He's
And
coming
have a
back
great night,
soon.
guys.
Thanks,
Good
Swiney.
night.
We
Good
appreciate you
night.
too.
Beast is out, fellas.